Welcome back, guys. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's 85 degrees, very sunny out today. I got some sun today. It's my day off, so I like to get outside, and I like to do a little workout, usually a little bit more of a challenging workout, as I don't have much content on Saturdays. I don't film as much. I try to take a break so I have more energy, and today I did a Murph. If you don't know what that is, you do a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, and then another mile, and I didn't finish it. I did it in 54 minutes, but I missed the push-ups. I missed it by like 70. I only got like 130. I did the pull-ups 100, did all the squats. My legs are trembling. I can't even feel my legs. I'm literally shaking. I shouldn't have done that. I feel sick. But we're talking about this Club World Cup because let me tell you, wow. Wow. I feel like it keeps getting better and better. And now we're getting to the stage where I'm posting daily because I'm watching these games before I go to bed. I'm watching them in all the day, in the morning, in the night, in the afternoon. It's so good. It's so good. This tournament has been one of the largest surprises to me because I have my questions about how tournaments run in America. I thought Copa America was a nightmare, but I always gave the chance because I feel like FIFA is one organization and CONMEBOL is the other. And I feel like so far FIFA is doing a better job with this tournament than CONMEBOL. Now, obviously, you still have the scheduling issues where, you've got matches where most Americans are working 9 to 5. You've got some games that are like 12 and 3 on the weekdays, and that was kind of exposed, and we saw the crowd turnouts in those games. But to me, guys, it's pretty good. And I think when we look at a lot of these games with the teams that have the passionate fans, the South American fans are making this tournament cinema. Watching this game last night, Bayern Munich and Boca Juniors. Dude, it felt like I was at Boca Junior Stadium from my couch at 10:30 p.m. I could not believe my laptop was like shaking. You could hear it. It was like bone chilling. So if anybody was at that game, it's crazy to see some of these fans. The Flamengo Chelsea game, it's awesome, bro. It's really exceeded my expectations, and it keeps going that way. And we're gonna start breaking down 3 games today. Later today, we have some drama with the group with Inter and Monterrey and River. I don't even know who's coming out of that group. We'll talk about that. And it's a little too early to look at a lot of the knockouts because, to be fair, guys, there's so much that's going to go into this last week where you're going to have 3 teams in most groups that are all still alive. So there's no point in kind of putting hypotheticals on who's going to get where with the knockouts. We'll do that eventually. And just a quick plug. We're on Spotify now. I'm putting all of these as like a podcast on Spotify. And if you want to watch the video part on Spotify, it is available. I love Spotify. I figure it's just a good idea as we kind of do these daily and as we head into the World Cup. So the link is down below. If you want to follow the playlist, when you go on Spotify, it will just be like as that playlist, like your music, and you click on it and there's a new episode. It's actually very like amazing. So I'm just posting those on there as well because it doesn't hurt. To you guys that are happy here, good. I'm just saying for those driving on commutes, going to work, if it's a little easier, it's there for you. But man, guys, this tournament, covering content on this tournament, you have no idea how much it's been. It's been so fun to do, and I hope you guys are enjoying all this football. Let's talk about this Dortmund game to start. I've been waffling for 3 minutes. All right, Mamelodi Sundowns versus Borussia Dortmund. Okay. Look, Dortmund, this is the second game now I've seen Dortmund, and I've not been impressed. But they've managed to scrape their way to 4 points in this group. They're putting themselves in a really good position to get to the knockouts as they're going to play Ulsan. And you know what? It doesn't always have to be pretty, but it looks like Dortmund is doing just enough. However, this is why this tournament is amazing, all right? You're seeing a team like Borussia Dortmund, who was playing in the Champions League final in the previous campaign versus Real Madrid. Not this season, but still got a bit far in the Champions League. You're seeing that. They're playing Mamelodi Sundowns, okay? And you have a chance where Mamelodi Sundowns almost comes back and draws this game. Not to mention, they outpossess Dortmund 60-40, and they have double the shots. That's why this tournament is exceeding everyone's expectations, because I don't think the average football fan expected these variables. Number one, teams to put out actually really strong sides, right? That's number one. You look at the Dortmund team today, it's close to it for their player set and who they have right now. Yes, there's a couple that aren't there, but you look at it, it makes sense. And I look at this game as a whole today. If I want to finish that point real quick, the second one is that I just don't think that a lot of people expected these teams from specifically South America to just completely, not even rob results, outplay all these European giants. That's the other one. So that's why the tournament extremely quickly has shifted in the narrative, because it's so entertaining to watch. Because it's not like Chelsea's playing their C team. They're going for stuff. It's all these teams now that are getting upset or games that are closer than everybody expected. The one thing, my final analysis on this game, I'm not going to spend too much time on this game today. Mamelodi almost comes back, and if they didn't make mistakes, they would have got a point out of this game, at least. When we watch this game objectively, they were the better team. They were actually the better team. They just made a couple mistakes out the back. You can see with the match ratings for the defensive players. It's kind of how it went. It wasn't pretty. Let's keep it moving, guys. Let's talk about Flamengo versus Chelsea, all right? Flamengo, the first place team in the Brazilian league, and I think everybody at this point, probably after this tournament, is going to start to say, the Brazilian league is a top 5 league or it's a top 6 league. I think there's no way you can't see it that way now. Botafogo, getting the result they got. We talked about that. They just beat the European number 1. PSG was insane this season, unstoppable, and Botafogo didn't even really concede a meaningful shot. And they're 8th place this season in Brazil. They just won CONMEBOL Libertadores. And people were backing me up because there was a clip that went up, I think on TikTok, of me talking about these South American teams. Even before I started posting super consistently on this channel a year or two ago, for years in my streams, I watch a lot of South American and Mexican football, and I'm going to explain why. With my schedule in the day-to-day, they actually play quite late. So they play like 8, 9, 10, and 11. So for you guys in Europe that you watch your night games for your domestic leagues, for me, that's kind of my equivalent. And I don't really watch the MLS because, guys, to be honest, the quality in the MLS, it's not great. The defense is really bad. And I don't think they care as much. Now, these South American and Mexican teams, bro, I said it in the last video, they go out there and they die for the badge. And that's why I personally love it so much. And that's why I watch these games, and I'm not really that surprised. I told all my viewers yesterday that, and not to be a hindsight guy, but I was like, if Chelsea get a positive result out of this game, meaning a win, I would be shocked. I was fully expecting a draw or win for Flamengo because I've seen what I had to see in this tournament now, and I've seen these teams care more and just work harder. We were watching, like, I think it was last night versus Boca, right? And we're gonna talk about the Bayern game today. Bayern was such a more talented team than Boca. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, the game should have been, like, probably 6-0, but Boca believed, bro. They literally believed they could, and I was watching the skill set of the fullbacks on some of these teams, and I'm like, they're way out of it compared to the wingers on these prime, European giants. But it doesn't matter because they care more. They're fighting for their lives. They're sprinting, tackling. They're so physical. That's the one thing I've seen too. So physical. These European wingers are not used to it, bro. They're not used to it. And that's why we're seeing a lot of problems with these European teams in this tournament, because they are just getting pushed around and it's way more of a physical style. And for those that watch the Copa America, every year, because I know people like the popular take is that people like to make fun of it because of how messy it is. It's so messy because these South American teams are so tactical with their fouling. Like, they won't let you have a second on the ball. They don't want you. They will foul you 50 times a game if they have to limit all chances, right? So it's why, I think most of these games I end up watching in the nighttime, most of them have a red card. Most of them, players getting sent off. There's a fight. I've seen stuff in Peru where they turn the lights off because the rival won it's just a whole other level. So it's my personal favorite football. It's not the prettiest, but it's for me like the most entertaining. So let's talk about this game, Flamengo Chelsea, guys. And if you're a Chelsea fan, because a lot of Chelsea fans may end up listening to this and watching this, should you be worried about Chelsea? Is this a situation that you look at it, wow, we lost to Flamengo, Jackson still doing Jackson stuff. We didn't look great. And, the stats, do they tell a true story? They do. The Chelsea really played okay in the first half, I felt like. It was pretty neck and neck. And now this is 2 games in this tournament that I've seen Flamengo just absolutely dominate teams, man. Like, they are now the only team that's already in the round of 16. They've already qualified. They need to be taken in this tournament as a favorite. I'm sure if you go look at favorites to win this tournament, I'm not even sure they would be in the top 8 right now. They need to be considered an actual favorite. First place in Brazil. The style of the tournament fits them. They seem like they're playing at top form. And watching these goals yesterday, man, Neto has a nice goal to start this game. It was a bit of a rebound. It's pretty even all game. And we get to the second half, bro, and you can just see who wants it more. You look at this Chelsea side in terms of the value of these players, how much Enzo cost, how much Palmer's probably valued. Delap, right? This guy that just went for 30 or 40, and everybody, Arsenal, United, all these teams wanted him. Caicedo, right? Wasn't he almost a record transfer signing? You look at this team and that Chelsea side, and is it their best side they've put out? It's not their best side, but it's close to it, right? And, you got to sit there and wonder, should we be thinking about, oh, is Palmer done? You know, all these question marks you have as a Chelsea fan. Now, Palmer, he's not looked himself. I agree. But Palmer, I look at Palmer as a footballer. And Palmer, to me, is not a physical footballer. So some of these matchups in this tournament are going to be absolute hell for him. I'm telling you, it's not going to fit his necessarily style that he's going to want to play at his speed. And just to be objective about the Chelsea team, would I make a lot of this result if I'm a Chelsea fan? The bottom line, no, I wouldn't, because I think you lost to the better team. And we look at Europe, and we look at the teams in Europe that how they're doing in this tournament. PSG, who is the best team in Europe, just lost to 8th place in Brazil. So, should PSG make a lot of that? No. I think PSG would still slap everybody silly in Europe. I do. Outside of maybe Barcelona. I think that game would be high scoring. I think PSG would still win. So if I'm a Chelsea fan, do I overreact? The only thing I would actually react about objectively with this Chelsea game is the Jackson situation, okay? And you might say, okay, well, what is the Jackson situation, right? So Jackson, guys, for me at this point, I've backed Jackson quite a bit. This is the thing, right? So he goes on Instagram and he's making an apology. And this is my issue with Jackson. It's not the issue of apologizing. It's not the issue of, I don't like how these footballers now seem to be playing for social media. Palmer's one of them. Jackson put up this was on his birthday yesterday. He had 30 Instagram stories, man, the day he's playing football. I'm not going to tell him how to live his life, but, lock in. If you're a Chelsea fan, you want to see this guy locked in, man. And I always feel like, for me, I'm doing best in my life when I'm not doing all the social media, And what I mean by that is that, my own stuff, I just go on here and I post stuff, but I don't really look. Once I post, I'm out. Here's where I have a problem. In this apology, he says, I still don't fully understand how it happened. But one thing is clear, it wasn't intentional. All right. And that's the main thing that started making headlines today with things like The Athletic and stuff like that. Okay. The problem is that there's been multiple times now with Jackson that he says he doesn't know how it happened or it was unintentional, but it keeps happening. So you have to ask yourself, and I'm sure he's honest. He's probably not doing it on purpose, but this is a clear trend now. All right. That even if there's no, at face value, bad intent, if it keeps happening, well, it's a problem, right? It's a problem. So, Jackson gets sent off. Was Jackson the reason they lost, just to put a bottom line here? Absolutely not. All right. Chelsea was losing that game no matter what. And let's talk about this game to end. Bayern Munich versus Boca Juniors. Guys, I'm going to say something right now. I think Olise is a top 10 attacker in the world, maybe even top 5. This guy is crazy, okay? This guy, Olise, he's playing in another dimension, because I'm one of those guys that I like to watch the in-betweens in the football. I'm not just watching the goals. I'm watching the way players move. I'm watching the way players accelerate. I'm watching the way players think with their IQ. He is developing into a monster. Olise is crazy. Now, he just put up a crazy season at Bayern Munich for an opening season. This Bayern Munich team, I'll tell you this, bro. If they can land Rafa Leao or someone of that magnitude on the left, people better seriously watch out. If they keep Musiala healthy, Kimmich healthy, Harry Kane healthy, and most importantly, Olise, because this guy Olise, I'm watching him do heel chops. He looked like he was out there playing an exhibition against one of the more passionate teams in the world. Now, Boca Juniors have been that crazy. As of recently, not necessarily, compared to some of the times in the past, but one of the most historic football clubs in the world last night showed us why. The fans were making a whole stadium shake, and they scored one of the best goals of the tournament. This guy, Merentiel, all right, Boca Juniors were so outmatched in this game, talent-wise, level, that what they were doing was the good old, high school ball days where you're playing a better team, and the defenders and the midfielders on your team, every time they win it, it's a couple combos and one ball out, route one to the striker to try to figure out 1v3. And that's what this guy did. This dude took on Ta, who Bayern just paid a crazy amount for, all right, and 2 or 3 of the Bayern defenders. It was an iconic moment for him, all right, especially the final touch where he takes it around the defender. The finish was quality against who? Let me check. Oh, one of the best goalkeepers of all time. I don't care what his age is, Manuel Neuer. So, man, these South American teams, they have no fear inside them. They don't care. And this was one of the most apparent examples of the level difference between a Bayern Munich and a Boca Juniors. Bayern Munich is a top 10 team in Europe, top 5. And Boca Juniors, who was not even close to them in technical ability, football IQ, athleticism, but they wanted it. And for a while, we're watching this game, and we're like, wait a second. Bayern should have had way more goals. They could have had 4 in the first half. They only got 1. It was a Kane, it just went just barely off him off a corner. And then, they only had 1, and we watch this game, and slowly, Bayern gets the ball. Boca lets them have it, but Boca's just going on the counter, and they score, one of the more high-quality goals I've seen in this tournament. Only for Olise to have a beautiful layoff from Kane and slot it as a far corner finesse shot, and Bayern takes care of business. 2-1, they win this game. Bayern Munich should probably be considered to be one of the favorites to win this tournament. They are right now, but they have the set of players with this team, especially with my props to Olise. The only question is that Musiala left with I think an injury, so that's a question mark. But they are also qualified for the knockouts, guys. They will face Benfica in the last game, which is funny. Benfica, I expect Bayern Munich to rotate, but if they don't and they do beat Benfica, right? Benfica could actually go out if Boca Juniors scores a bunch of goals against Auckland City. Auckland City have not scored 1 goal, and they've conceded 16. Bayern scored 10 against them. Benfica scored 6. So this group is actually quite interesting for that reason. But Bayern Munich are into the knockouts. And I just wanted to praise Olise, guys, because, man, it's one of those when you see footballers, man, that you feel like are moving at different speed. I really do feel like they deserve the appreciation, and Olise is starting to really become that guy for me. This is like 4 or 5 games that I've seen of him now, probably in the last few months, that I've been like, man, this guy is special. So amazing signing they made. Little thing to end the video for you guys. I felt like this was so funny. Like Flamengo, man, just completely trolling, bro. Chelsea, man, they're tweeting that about Chelsea. This tweet did numbers: 15 million views, 340,000 likes. Guys, we're gonna break down in a future episode or a future video over here. We're gonna break down more of the knockouts. We're not there yet. We've got some games today. We'll react to those tomorrow, and then we've got some stuff the day after. But man, what an incredible blessing, bro, it is to watch this football. I had my questions with it being held in America, with these teams having long seasons. Is this forced? We pretty much have this type of thing every summer between a World Cup, a Euro, a Copa America. Is this too much? But man, between the Nations League and this, I've been shocked this summer, man. I know the World Cup is next summer, but the Nations League was fantastic. It really was. And this so far is fantastic. I cannot wait for the knockouts. I'm going to be doing watch-alongs on my streams for all of those games with reactions for you guys going up. And thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I really do appreciate you guys clocking in. Make sure you guys drop in the comments how you guys are feeling about the tournament. And we'll see you guys daily. So we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I don't wake up and feel like I can't get out of bed because of my legs hurting so much. Let's hope.